Good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. I'm going to do your August the 5th just for today in a meditation. Hope you're doing well this morning. My first take of the meditation, I was a lot more chipper, but 5 takes in, I'm losing my patience. So bear with me. We will make sure we get this posted for you, okay? August 5th, the shape of our thoughts. By shaping our thoughts with spiritual ideals, we are free to become who we want to be. Now, that comes from the basic text, page 105. Addiction shaped our thoughts in its own way. Whatever their shape may once have been, they became misshapen once our disease took full sway over our lives. Our obsession with drugs and self molded our moods, our actions, and the very shape of our lives. Let me repeat that for you. Our obsession with drugs and self molded our moods, our actions, and the very shape of our lives. Each of the spiritual ideals of our program serves to straighten out one or another of the kinks in our thinking that developed in our active addiction. Denial is counteracted by admission, secretiveness by honesty, isolation by fellowship, and despair by faith in a loving higher power. The spiritual ideals we find in recovery are restoring the shape of our thoughts and our lives to their natural condition. And what is that natural condition? It is the condition we truly seek for ourselves, a reflection of our highest dreams. How do we know this? Because our thoughts are being shaped in recovery by the spiritual ideals we find in our developing relationship with the God we've come to understand in NA. No longer does addiction shape our thoughts. Today, our lives are being shaped by our recovery and our higher power. Just for today, I will allow spiritual ideals to shape my thoughts. In that design, I will find the shape of my own higher power. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the we version of a serenity prayer. Moment of silence now, please. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things that we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. This meditation is interesting to me because when I think about the shape of something, I think about the mold, right? When I think about the shape of a cake that I've baked, the cake pan is the mold, the baking pan is the mold, right? So if that cake pan, that baking pan, has a huge dent in the side or the bottom, quite naturally, the finished product, my cake, right, is going to show the imprint of that dent, right? So a dent, which usually means that something has pressed the metal inwards, right, creates like a dip, right? A section of the cake that's going to have a dip that's going to accommodate that defect in the pan. No matter how many cakes I bake, that defect is going to show in the end result. The cake may taste delicious, but upon close scrutiny, one will be able to tell that I used a defective cake pan to bake it in. Now, you and I both know a cake pan is not that difficult to press out the dents. Okay. So it's not that it can't be fixed, but until it is, I will always reproduce a cake that reflects that dented cake pan. So now here's the quick correlation. When I allow the things that come with active addiction, these character defects, right? My obsession to use drugs, my using drugs to be my mold, right? Character defects, actively using all of the lifestyle that comes with it. The end result, now that's my cake pan that is defective, right? So the end result will be that everything that is produced, even though it may smell beautiful, look beautiful, there is still going to be, upon scrutiny, evidence that the mold was not what it should have been. Okay, let's talk about children that we raise. Or I should say, through active addiction, maybe children that we should have raised but didn't. We let someone else do it, whether it was the government or a family member, or we were just there and allowed them to raise themselves while we were getting high, right? The end result of my defective life of active addiction, my character defects, and the lifestyle that came with it, my attitudes, my mood swings, my intolerance for anything other than what I wanted when I wanted it, is going to show itself in the lives of those children. They have titles, right? For the psychological damage that is done to children, unborn and born, that have been subjected to this trauma of someone's substance use disorder. Okay. So they're going to have a consequence, and their life is going to show the defect of our active addiction. Now, a lot of people don't like that word defect, but I'm using it in a very simple sense to demonstrate the mold of my life and what it has been shaped by, how it can reproduce things that reflect that, just like a cake pan with a dent. Now, when I start to talk about overcoming these things and developing myself spiritually and becoming more spiritually fit, mentally well, my body is clean now, right? I don't have a drug addicted mind. I have a mind that is recovery oriented, right? So as I begin to reshape my life, the things around me begin to reflect. It's hard to go into the past and fix all of that, but you can press those dents out, right? You can press them out through your step work 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can press them back to the position that they are supposed to be or should have been, minus your active addiction and all of the mess that came with that. All right. So we need to be encouraged. We need to have hope that not all is lost, even though in some instances it may seem insurmountable. I have heard stories of children coming back to find their parents that were lost in active addiction. Was it an easy encounter? Absolutely not. Were there resentments? Absolutely. However, the individual was ready for whatever came, right? Because this was part of their making an amends, a living amends. So they were able to receive the frustration and the hurt that the child brought to them. I'm not saying be a doormat. I'm just saying that some of these dents that have been produced in our cake pans of life can be resolved. They can be pressed out. Now, here it talks about denial is counteracted by admission, secretiveness by honesty, isolation. Come on. Isolation by what? Fellowship, despair by faith in a loving higher power. Now, I'm going to take all of that, right? Admission, honesty, fellowship, faith. That's just a few spiritual principles that I gather now to help me remold, reshape my life, my cake pan, right? And as I begin to do that, my perspective of what is going on in my life changes. My relationship to my higher power changes. My relationship to others change because the scope of my capacity to handle relationships, the depthness of it, the height, the width, the breadth of it, right? The scope. I'm talking about the scope of being able to relate to others in a manner that is healthy now changes, whether it be God, whether it be a spouse, whether it be my children, my job. These things begin to take a different shape because I've taken a different shape. If I just stop at not using drugs, there were things that I benefited from within the first 24 hours of getting clean. A promotion, for one, right? I told you the story of an employer praying that whoever walked through the door first was going to be her right-hand person because she had so many options, beautiful people, right? But she needed someone that could keep her abreast of the media, the bankruptcies, right? The VP of a major drug corporation, right? And so my first day clean, I had walked into work, not just on time, not late. I was ahead of time. And though she did not expect it to be me, she knew what she had prayed. So I received a promotion, even though I was the low man on the totem pole, right? Less seniority than anyone else. And by staying clean, I just went from one level to the next level to the next level. By the time I left that company in that particular department, I was only making maybe $3,000 less than the person with the most seniority in that particular department. And I had been there far less time, right? So cleaning up my life from actively using changed a lot of things immediately for me. So if I did nothing else other than stop using drugs, I began to reshape my life just from that because my perception, my mind is present. I can tell you I'm going to do something and I will remember that I said I was going to do it and follow through. Okay. So that is at the most minute level, right? Just not using drugs. Now, let's not even get on to doing step work and developing honesty, open mindedness, and willingness. You see how that works? Okay. So today I want for you to begin, if you have not already, to reshape your mind, reshape your life, reshape, right? I'm going to be reshaping because I'm about to get out here in some of my running shoes and do a very quick 1 mile jog just to see where I'm at with it, right? I've always told it that I can always, no matter how small, how big, how long it's been, I can run a mile anytime, anywhere, any day, right? So I'm going to go out here and see if that's true. at almost 60 years old. Right? I'm going to see if that's true because I want to reshape not just my insides, but my physicality so that I can handle the pressure better, the demanding lifestyle that I have better. Okay. So, what are you going to do? I want to know how addiction is no longer shaping you and how recovery is shaping you. Leave me a comment down below. I'm looking forward to engaging you. My name is Mighty Stream. I've enjoyed talking to you today. I hope that you have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to.